Hello. Today, I want to talk a little bit about fragmentation and why it happens and what the purpose of fragmentation really is. So fragmentation is the aspect of us that gets away from us, very simply put. So when we come into existence, we come into the whole of our existence. In other words, there are no disassociated parts within us. And as we come in, after we come into our existence, there are certain experiences and episodic instances or memories that occur of our life that causes us to fragment from this sense of whole that we come in with. So the wholeness that we come in with is the nature of how and where we come from. That is, we come from wholeness into human existence for the purpose of learning through human existence. And if you really look at spiritual life, if you are all healed, there's nothing to learn, there's nothing to grow. So the purpose of your existence would be not much. You kind of just be floating around, So the purpose of our human existence is to actually learn and grow through contrast, to deepen our desire and our expansion into love through contrast. So fragmentation is what occurs when we come into the earthly plane and let's say a traumatic experience occurs in our physical world, in our physical reality, and it causes us to disassociate a part of us. So what this might look like in reality is something like we come into our form as a child, and as we're growing up, our parents tell us that we should not cry. In fact, a lot of you men may actually relate to this, where you're told, don't cry because it's a sign of weakness. And your reality might inside, in fact, be that you feel very vulnerable and scared at times and you want to cry. But because your parents told you not to cry, you absorbed the truth of how they had learned to live their life as your truth. So the moment you do that, you fragmented away from a part of you that was whole, that wanted to experience the wholeness of your existence. And you disassociated from that part by saying, I am not to cry, I'm never to cry, because otherwise I won't be loved and accepted in this world. So you started to over-identify with the other side, which is portraying a sense of strength all the time by not crying. So anytime you have this type of life experience, what consciousness is about is it's actually going to ask you to look at this and see if the context of the experience that you are coming into is still valid. Is it still valid to apply your way of thinking to the context of the experience in which you are experiencing the feelings and emotions that you are experiencing? So, to simplify it a little bit, your gateway is your feelings and your thoughts and your emotions. So when you feel a sense of tightness and you still, as an adult, say, I'm not going to cry because crying is a sign of weakness, a part of you actually wants to cry really bad. And you are holding back that part of you. So the fragmented part of you that's wanting to be called back is that part that wants to cry. Now, it was really, really important for you to learn by contrast that there are certain contexts and experiences in which you would cry, and then there are certain contexts and experiences in which crying may not be optimal, okay? But what you attached yourself to was you should never cry, which is actually living in a polarity of how we function as humans. And so you disconnected from the part of you that actually wants to cry. So when we talk about fragmentation, it's really these parts that we are calling back to ourselves through our spiritual work, which can come in the form of parts work, healing therapies, healing modalities, etc. Not the topic for today, but they come in various modalities. So the work is really about, no matter how you do it, it's about owning that part of you back so that you can come back to your wholeness, to your authenticity. Okay? So wholeness is recognizing that you have both parts inside of you, not just one side of things. And the fragmented part of you, which is the egoic part, thinks there's only one side to a situation. But the reality is that there is more than one side. So the part that you don't see, the part that's the illusion in you, is the part that you don't see. So now your life experience has shown you that there are opposite experiences and that you're going to have both in this lifetime. So the process of integration is bringing both of these back together within yourself so that you learn and grow through that experience. You learn to contextualize your experience and you grow from that. This is what the soul came here to do. So the purpose of your existence is in fact to grow and evolve through your life experiences. That's what your soul is directing you to do. But the human part and the ego and the personality part may be resisting this. So fragmentation is the part that you resist within you that is wanting to come back to find the wholeness within you. And authenticity is about you recognizing that you have both parts inside of you. Okay? So now you've expanded and grown to where you recognize that there are both parts and that there is a context in which you will exhibit both parts. You're going to exhibit both the traits. So sometimes you might cry, sometimes you might actually reveal your strength in a situation. And both of these are valid experiences. Now, why is this important for you to recognize that both are valid experiences? It's because it teaches us as humans to look outside, to see outside of ourselves and recognize what's called the universal truth. And the universal truth is all of these parts exist. Therefore, all of these parts that you see outside of you are also within you. This is the process of coming from your individual consciousness to recognizing that you are a conscious being, to coming and stepping into your universal consciousness, which is about you recognizing that the world is inside of you, that everybody who is out there is also inside of you. So it gives you more meaning and purpose to connect that way. It gives you more meaning and purpose in your life to approach your relationships that way. And that's how you expand into the loving being that you are. Now, the 8 billion of us who are on this planet all have fragmented parts. There's not one human who's going to experience something other than that. And as you know, not everybody is consciously reintegrating those parts. So when you as a conscious being is stepping in, you're really calling these parts back to yourself. So if you're just reading books, you're not getting there. The real work about seeing your consciousness in action is about you making a change in your life and your relationships to see things differently than you have been seeing in the past. Now, the purpose of all intimate relationship is to show you the parts of you that have fragmented and fallen away, okay? So that you can bring them back within yourself. So in this sense, relationship is going to challenge you the most to look beyond your sense of small me and myself to the larger view of me and the other and us. So this is the beauty of relationships, is that it's going to show you where you're fragmented, and call on you, I should say, to bring those parts back within yourself. Now, it's not always easy to do this because there are going to be parts of you that are really challenged, where you had taken the opposite view on life in order to survive. So, for example, you might have had an experience in childhood where you witnessed some cruelty in your life. So you might have told yourself, I'm always going to be kind. And the reality is, that's not real. That's not the real you. So your belief shift has to be that you're not always only looking at the fragmented part of you that is skewed to a positive response from the universe, because that would keep you trapped in the positive mindset of trying to get love and acceptance from others by being positive in your life. But there's also a side of you where the negative things within yourself, like you might have a more cruel side to you, okay? Or you might have an unkind side to you. You're going to bring those back within yourself. Now, the purpose of doing this is so you can see that you are neither of these, okay? Because when they both come together in your existence, the energy is neutralized inside of your consciousness, inside of your mind. So when it's neutralized, you are not going to judge or evaluate somebody and get attached to them when they're kind. And you're also not going to attach in a negative way towards somebody who may not be that kind. This is the beauty of consciousness. It's going to show you where you're attaching and infatuating with something that is an ideology, and in reality, nobody can be 100% kind, and then nobody is 100% cruel either. So you're going to see both sides in our human beings. So that's the purpose of consciousness, is to show you that there are contexts in which people will be kind, people will be cruel. And so the question and belief shift you want to have within yourself is, who is having this experience and what is the context of this experience showing me? Okay, so if you are struggling with past patterns in relationships where you have always attracted a certain type of man or woman, then in order to break the pattern, you're going to have to swing yourself the other way for a brief time. And then you're going to have to bring it back to balance to see that neither is good nor bad. Okay, so that's the beauty of these experiences, is that they're showing you that the polarities of our existence must go away, and instead be coming to what's called balance and equanimity, where we don't judge ourselves and where we don't judge others for having the experiences that we do or that they do. And it's not always easy to get here. You will be challenged by your beliefs. You'll be challenged by your family values. You'll be challenged by your cultural beliefs. You'll be challenged by your epigenetics. You'll be challenged by your life experiences. So in order to cut through this, you're going to have to apply some self-reflection time. The self-reflection is around, where in my life am I playing small? When I'm saying you're playing small, I'm not talking about you coming out on the positive side of things necessarily. You may also be playing small by seeing others as negative in your mind's eye. So your mindset has to really expand to seeing both the positive and the negative traits, and to embracing all the 4,600 plus traits that are really prevalent in the universe, in every human being. Okay, so bringing that all and owning all of the traits within yourself, and seeing your relationships, and especially your intimate relationships, as the avenue to bring those traits back within yourself. That is the true gift of your fragmentation. Your fragmentation has a purpose, and the purpose is to actually allow you to consciously find your whole, as opposed to allowing a subconscious to run you and your life. And when we can start to live in this way, we start to embrace the energies of our soul in a more directed and channeled way into our human existence. So this is one of the fundamental building blocks of living an amazing life where you're thriving, where you are expanding into love. Have a good day.